Parashat Shemot, or Names, is found in Exodus chapter 1 to chapter 6 verse 1, with Haftorah from Jeremiah chapter 1 to chapter 2 verse 3. This parasha lists the names of the sons of Israel who journeyed to Egypt with their families. While there, the Torah tells us that they were fruitful and increased greatly. They multiplied and grew exceedingly strong, so that the land was filled with them. The Israelites became slaves of the Egyptians and suffered greatly in Egypt. They cried out to the Lord for some relief, and he assured his people that he had heard their cries. He then orchestrated the events of the life of Moses to fulfill this promise, as Moses was the vessel the Lord would use to deliver his people despite Pharaoh's orders to terminate at birth the lives of the male children born to the Israelite women. The defining moment of Moses' call was when an angel of the Lord appeared to him as fire from the midst of a bush. It caught Moses' attention because he saw fire, but the bush was not consumed. The Lord called Moses by name from the bush and introduced himself as the God of Moses' forefathers. The Lord then outlined to Moses his assignment, which was to deliver the ones he loves, the Israelites, from the oppression of the Egyptians and take them to Canaan, the land of promise. Moses was reluctant and tried to convince God that he was not the right candidate for the job, even as God promised to be with him. God demonstrated to Moses all the miraculous signs that he would perform to persuade Pharaoh to release his people. After seeing all the signs, Moses told the Lord that he was not and had never been eloquent. Instead, he was slow of speech and slow of tongue. God reminded Moses that it is he who made man's mouth, and he is the same one who made the mute, the deaf, the seeing, and the blind. Again, God assured Moses that he would be with him and would coach him through this presentation to Pharaoh. After hearing all of that, Moses angered the Lord by asking him to assign the task to someone else. The Lord chose Aaron the Levite, the brother of Moses, to be the spokesman. Moses' job was to brief Aaron on all he and the Lord spoke about and to tell Aaron about the signs the Lord would do. When Moses and Aaron spoke to the Israelites, they believed that the Lord had heard their cries and their deliverer had come, so they worshipped the Lord. Afterwards, Moses and Aaron approached Pharaoh and told him the Lord required the Israelites to be released. Pharaoh was not convinced and commanded his taskmasters to increase the pressure on the Israelites as they seemingly were not fully occupied. God assured Moses that with a strong hand, Pharaoh would not only release the people, but he would drive them out of Egypt. Similarly, in the Haftorah, God tells Jeremiah that before he was born, he was called to be a prophet to the nations. Like Moses, Jeremiah was reluctant to accept the call, as he believed he did not know how to speak effectively because he was too young. God told Jeremiah he should not be intimidated because of his youth, and that he should go without fear to whomever he, God, would send him, because the Lord would always be with him. God then touched Jeremiah's lips, gave him his assignment, and began to train him in the ways of the prophetic. God knows you by name, and you are precious to him. Can you sense him trying to get your attention? What is your excuse? You cannot hide from the omniscient God. Regardless of the assignment, He promises to be with you in it. You were born as an answer to a problem on the earth. Remember, it is never too late to fulfill purpose. Like Moses and Jeremiah, He will coach you through it, and He will fill your mouth with words. Will you surrender to Him today?